with him, and 6 people who would know, the 6 people of his peers, not just about any John Doe. There had to be some equality, some equity between he and the jury. If that's what the word that I've just defined mean, I normally look at the meaning of word, the characteristics, and then again I look at the behavior of people and the system to see if everything is in accordance. Because sometimes, this is not our language as people of African descent, and particularly those of us who are victims of the transatlantic, descendants of the victims of the transatlantic slave trade. This is not our language. So sometimes what we say is not what we mean. And as I said in one of my songs, if you don't say what you mean, you can never do what you say. So if the word peers mean jury, if your peers mean people of some, there has to be some equality there, some equity somewhere there. So these people would now empathize with him and determine his fate. At least, to prove my point, at least one of his 6 equals was so in touch with him and was able to gel with him and identify with him to the point that on a television interview, I think it was with a guy from CNN and the Sukupo. In that interview, she called him by his first name. She called the accused by his first name in the interview. Called him by his first name. Not Mr. George Zimmerman in a formal way, or Mr. Zimmerman, but she called him George. And from my perspective, she did not she did not do anything wrong in being or in sounding so intimate with George. She was called upon to determine a member of her peers' fate, so she knew that this is a member of my peers. We have something in common. Background, wealth, education, qualification, social status, you name it. So it's like my friend. It's my peers. She was not there to defend, and this is a mistake a lot of people is making. She was not there. The jury was not there to seek justice for Trayvon Martin, if my understanding of what jury is and what jury means. They were there to determine the fate of a member of their peers, and this is what I think people are missing. I don't care how all of these big names, lawyers and blah 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 on television is saying, or in the media is saying. But I just look up the word. The jury of his peer is there to defend favorably. When you pass judgment against your member of your peer, it means you don't deserve to be my peer anymore. That's from my perspective. I also heard a lot of very prominent and the system's well-educated people commenting on what they call the disparity in the selection of only white people, or 5 white people and 1 Hispanic on the jury, and that there were no black people there. Well, from my perspective, that is not only erroneous, misleading and untrue, but that is just another of the system's great deception or deceptions for which almost all peoples of the earth today have fallen victims. The fact is that there were absolutely no white people on that jury or on the jury. Hispanic, maybe, but white people, definitely not. For I, the Mystic Philosopher, to say, or to admit that there were white people on the jury, on that jury, would be to insult my own physical senses, at least my sense of sight. It would be to insult my latent, natural, native, earthly human intelligence. It would be to insult my deep metaphysical insights and enlightenment, and to insult my basic common sense. For to the best of my knowledge, with the exception of maybe the jurors' teeth, maybe portion of their eyes, because I didn't see them, I wasn't that close enough, and possible the clothes that they may have worn, nothing or not anything else about these people is white. And the same is true for everyone else that was in the court, including, of course, the accused, George Zimmerman. Nothing about him is white. For example, their skin complexion is not white. Their blood is not white, even though there was, if they can prove me otherwise, then I'll be humble, I'll be most humbled. So their blood is not white, their skin is not white, their history is not white. The history of the Caucasian race, or any race on the planet, or any group of people, is not white. Period. Their background is not white. Their heart, their mind is not white. You name it. Remember, the word white means pure, perfect, good, unblemished. Again, please, I recommend check your dictionaries. If at all we agree that this is English we're talking, or I'm attempting to use, it's English words I'm using. So nothing about them is white. Not a thing. Nothing. They are not sinless. Because even there, my ancestors, slave masters' religion and their book, the Bible, the same book that they taught to my ancestors, and the same book that my ancestors, slave masters, heirs and successors inherited and is being taught to us who are also the inheritance of the slave masters, heirs and successors. They are teaching us today from the same book. They call it the Holy Bible. In it I read their own book saying that if you say that you have no sin, you deceive yourself and the truth is not in you. So how are you going to tell me you're white and you're pure? Anyway, I don't buy that. So nothing about them is white. And to those of you that do not know what the word white means and what it stands for, the symbol white, the meaning of the word white, the English word white, I strongly recommend that you just simply go on Google right here. If you are watching this video, it means that you have access to the internet. Just Google the word white. You don't even have to get the big standard dictionary, hardcover dictionary, and check it out for yourself. Then you will see that there is nothing about no one that was in that courtroom that was white, or that is white today, along with your common sense. And above all, there was nothing illegal about the selection of the jury according to the system's law. So don't blame the selection, don't blame the defense team for ensuring that Zimmerman, their client, got members of his peer according to the law to listen and to judge on his behalf. That's what they were called to do from my perspective. So while the system and its courts allow George Zimmerman, and this is what I think most people are missing, while the system and its courts allow George Zimmerman to have 6 of his peers determine how and where he should spend possibly the rest of his life, Trayvon Martin had none. In other words, there was no jury in court representing Trayvon Martin. There was no jury on the side representing Trayvon Martin, who is the real victim in this case, in this situation. The real victim is Trayvon Martin. Zimmerman's peer, remember, the law said 6 people of the living and accused George Zimmerman's peer, and 0 of the dead Trayvon Martin's peer. And yet people, especially the so-called legal expert on radios and televisions, the political opportunist, the race activist, etc., they now have the nerves to expect justice for Trayvon in a situation like that. These people did not see the injustice while the case was going on, or even know that it has ended. But they are now on the street, they are out there protesting and demonstrating that justice was not done. You should have seen that before the case even ended. Justice was not done. All the so-called leaders are saying that, these same so-called leaders are saying that US is the greatest country in the world. It has the best justice system in the world. So people must respect the verdict because the jury had spoken. People should respect the jury's verdict. The president said that. Everybody said that. The jury's verdict. So if you know what the jury is and the jury make a decision, why protest? Why some of these people now are coming to quarterback and not seeing where the real injustice went on? Not necessarily, not because of the jury. I honestly think that what people should be talking about and what they should be trying to get changed, if at all they think they can change the system, is not so much what they call a stand your ground law in Florida, which I understand was not even directly brought up in the George Zimmerman case. The case was not about stand your ground, from my understanding. Somebody may correct me. What people should be talking about is balancing the jury. With 3 jurors of Trayvon's peers and 3 jurors of George Zimmerman's peers. And let them listen to the case. And after that, let them duke it out. But you can't have 6 people of man's equal, none of the victim, and you expect them to rule in your favor. To me, it doesn't make sense. That is, to me, if you get a balanced situation, 3 of each side, and let them reason, and let them be fair, then you can get a balanced scale. But you can't have everybody from one side and you expect the scale to balance. No equation works like that. Now, the determination of many and the effort of the government in now going after George Zimmerman with what they call civil rights violation charges is, from my perspective, unfair. It's not right. Straight up. It's not right. And I'm not sure that they can prove in the court, their same court, that George Zimmerman is a racist in accordance to the meaning of the word and its definition in law. I'm not sure they can do that. Justifiably do that. The fact is that they have fought him in court and they lost, possibly as I've mentioned before, as a result of negligence on the part of the Sanford prosecutors. However, I do think that the parents of Trayvon Martin have the right to file what is called under their system a wrongful death lawsuit against him for the loss of their son. And that should be the decision of the family, the parents, if they want to go through that. But they have the right to do that. Now that he's freed, it happened against O.J. Simpson. Why not against Zimmerman? And possibly his family, if they can get anything. Well, no, not his family. The family didn't do anything. Zimmerman. Okay. Finally, you see, people, if we are the natural native earthly humans, then we can't get carried away by our emotions in certain situations. We have to show mercy, justice, and forgiveness, or else we are not the light. But that's another subject another time. Let me continue. Finally, to the parents of young Trayvon Martin, my deepest condolences. As a parent myself, my deepest condolences goes out to you on the loss of your child. I don't know what it is to be in your shoes, and I most definitely would not want to trade places with you. But even though I am definitely not a Christian, or nor a Christian wannabe, I want to remind you of something my late mom, who was a devout Christian, used to say in times of troubles, in times of heartache and in times of pain, and I quote, she said, God don't give his people more than they can bear, unquote. And to quote from one of my own song, the Mystic Philosopher's own song, just a verse from it or a line from it, it said, it is through our experiences that we learn our life lessons. So, I think that if my mother was right, that there is a God that gives his people, his Christian people, or allows them to have troubles, to have heartaches, to have suffering and pains and disappointment, you name them, then I think it could also be for his people, that God's people, the Christian God's people, to experience and learn their life's lessons. And the greatest lesson that I think that you may be able to learn from this painful experience is the lesson that my mom also taught me, the one she said she learned from Christ, or Christ taught her through Christ's formula for praying, and one that I am still trying to learn. And it is the lesson called forgiveness. She used to say, forgive us as we forgive those that trespass against us. So please note that true forgiveness is conditional. Meaning, if you don't forgive, you won't get forgiveness yourself. And if you are not forgiven, then you will live the rest of your life, or you may live the rest of your life filled with burdens and possible with bitterness, anger and bitterness. So I do hope that you will get to that place in your hearts and in your mind, in your life. If you are not already there, I do hope that you'll get there very soon, when you both can find the will to truly forgive George Zimmerman from your heart and from your mind. For only through true forgiveness, a true forgiveness which only you and you guys alone will know, or only you alone will know if or when you do, only then will you begin to be healed or healed. For whether you know it or not, George Zimmerman is suffering much more than you know, or much more than you can ever imagine, and he will remain a sufferer for a very, very long time to come, if not for the rest of his life. You don't even want to be adding to his suffering or sufferings, or even think of his sufferings. That will be a waste of your time. You don't even want to know how his memory of Trayvon's encounter and the taking of Trayvon's life, under whatever circumstances, he alone knows how it is haunting him day and night until who knows when or until who knows what. But all you need to know, you only need to truly forgive him. It ain't easy, but that's something you just have to do. Just to quote something else, my old lady, my mom, who is now at rest, would be saying to you from her Bible. He said, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Don't seek vengeance, spiritually or otherwise. But get back your mind and your heart to the place where you truly forgive this young man. And free him, or free yourself from him. Remember, it's a highly philosophical and deep statement. Forgive us as we forgive those that trespass against us. So it is forgive to get, or to forget. Forgive to forget. If you don't, then you may put on a front. You may appear on all of these things and gain a lot of fame and whatever. But deep inside you will suffer. Next thing I want to say, that you should be weary of many people that will come around and try to use you guys, father and mother of Trayvon Martin, and Trayvon's name. There are people who will come around just to use you in order to advance their own agendas. So beware of those people and get back to your natural, your faith, and be good. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks for living. Thanks for living, of course. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I am the Mystic Philosopher.